Hello, everyone. My name is Shola Thompson, and I'm a licensed mental health counselor, educator, and the founder of Community Revitalization Partnership, a nonprofit focused on creating safe, supportive spaces where youth and their families can thrive. For the past 2 decades, I've worked in schools, communities, and city agencies to improve emotional well-being for people facing challenges that aren't always visible. Right now, I serve as an adjunct professor at Silberman School of Social Work while pursuing my PhD. One of the tools that I often use with clients, and the one that I'm going to share with you today, is the body mapping tool. This is a simple but powerful activity that helps us tune in to how emotions, especially the difficult or unwanted ones, live in our bodies. Whether it's tension in the chest, a knot in your stomach, shaky hands, or whatever it is, the body has a way of being able to tell us that something is wrong, sometimes even before the mind. So clients consistently find this exercise valuable because it helps them recognize early warning signs of emotional distress. And just as importantly, identify concrete strategies to return to a more balanced, grounded state. What makes this tool especially useful is that it doesn't just help in the moment. It helps you build a body map for the future. So you can start to learn what your body is trying to tell you so that you can intervene sooner and care for yourself better. So today, I'm going to walk you through this step by step. Feel free to download this worksheet and work on it physically as we're going through each step. Or like I will be doing on the screen, feel free to use this on the screen and you fill it out electronically. So whatever way that you choose, today I welcome you to do each step with me to begin building or refining your own wellness strategy. There's no right or wrong, just you, your curiosity, and your honesty. This is your map, and I am here to support you create it. So let's begin. So why does this matter? As I said before, emotions live in our bodies. So when we understand how unwanted feelings show up, we can interrupt them early and return to wanted feelings more quickly. So step one, and let's do it together if you can. Describe an experience that created an unwanted emotion. Start by thinking about a recent moment that brought up an unwanted feeling, or something that felt uncomfortable, something that was overwhelming, or just hard to sit with. It could be a big event or a small moment, anything that stood out for you. And then right here on your worksheet, go ahead and just create a descriptor of whatever that was so that you will be able to call it to mind for the activity. So I am going to work with you with some prompts from my past sessions. So for example, what unwanted feeling would you like to map out? So I will put frustration created by a supervisor at work, just for the purposes of this example. Then step two, rate the feeling. So if you turn to your in your book, this is a thermometer, and you want to rate how strong that feeling was for you at the time. So you use the thermometer and choose a number from 0 to 100. 0 is you are experiencing wanting feelings. There is no unwanted feelings present. And then 100 is the most intense feeling you have ever felt in this area. So let's go ahead and identify. So for the example we're working with, frustration created by a supervisor at work, Let's go ahead and say, that created about maybe a 70. I'm going to put 70 for the purpose of this example. So 70, you go ahead and you say, supervisor, just a small description, supervisor stress. Then step 3, map it on the body. So now think back to how that emotion showed up in your body. Did you feel tightness in your chest? Did you feel a headache? Did you feel butterflies in your stomach? Maybe you clenched your jaw. So really think through about the time that you had that unwanted feeling and think about, okay, where did it show up on your body? Where do you remember experiencing that? And then choose a color that matches the intended intensity. So for my supervisor stress example, I'm going to, it wasn't the most that I've ever experienced frustration. So I'm going to put it in purple to represent the stress. And then I am going, right, to put that in the neck area, just symbolizing that I felt the stress in the neck area. And I'm going to start to use I language so that it will be better understood as a way to create this example. So this is me. I'm saying that supervisor stress happened in my throat. And for the color, I chose this kind of fuchsia purpley color. Then you want to add a word or two near the body to describe the physical sensation. So was it a tensing? Was it a aching? Was it a kind of like palpitations? Like what did it feel like? So exploring that, I think there will be 2 areas of activation that I would point out. I would say at 70, supervisor stress occurred in the mouth, right? And the throat. And the descriptor for that would be, let's see, how about blocked, warm, hard to swallow, right? Like whatever you experienced goes there, because those are your telltale signs that 1, you are at a 70 or whatever your score was, and 2, even if you have not consciously realized that you're at a 70, you can say, okay, well, if I feel that blocked throat or mouth or head or anything, that is a sign that supervisor stress is at play. All right, the next step, step 4, is identify a wellness strategy. So a wellness strategy, you want to think of it like what helps or what could have helped. And helped meaning what could help shift you back to a more wanted or calm feeling. So maybe you took a walk, maybe you called a friend, maybe you listened to music, maybe you practiced deep breathing. If you didn't have a strategy at the time, think about something that when your body tells you that you are feeling that feeling of stress, that you want to try out the next time, because it is going to be important that you do not start to climb up the stress scale to 80, 90, 100, because if this accumulates over time, so if you have constant meetings with your supervisor, for example, or constant times where whatever you chose is something that is part of your experience, over time, it's going to be harder and harder to keep it at a 70. So for purposes of the example, supervisor stress, excused self from virtual meeting, went to the restroom to wash hands and face, right? And so a lot of times, especially with work situations or just situations in general, there is a worry that, oh my gosh, I can't excuse myself. I can't do this, right? And so in these situations, you have to think, especially if it's not even a work situation, if it's something with a loved one, if it's something with a child, you want to think, if you stay, are you going to be able to represent yourself in the best way possible without sacrificing your health? Because as we know, when there is an activation of an unwanted feeling, the body goes into gear to support you in getting through that moment, whether consciously or unconsciously. I like to say that your body copes with or without you. So, of course, you have to come up with something that feels like it's something that you can do in the moment, but ultimately you want to apply some sort of coping strategy so that you're not sitting in that feeling for too long. And you're actively going, creating a coping strategy so that you're not staying or stuck there. Then, step 5, look for early cues. So let's rewind a bit. What were the signs before the whatever you identified as your number? So on the screen, I identified 70 for supervisor stress. So I would think, okay, well, what were the signs at 60? What were the signs at 50? What were some things that I was thinking or doing? What are the signs that my body gave me before my throat, before my mouth became tense, right? That is what we're looking for. So now let me think, when things were a 60, what was my experience? Most of the time, it's things that you're either doing or thinking. So in this case, thinking, why is she asking me these questions? Is often a thought that comes before whatever it is that's about to happen. So when I start to think, why is she asking me these questions? This is an indication that I am climbing up this thermometer or this stress scale or this frustration scale, and I need to actually intervene here. I also could identify before that, even at 50, I could identify feeling misunderstood in terms of whatever is the information that I'm presenting. My supervisor is just not getting it. So feeling misunderstood at 50. So let's come up with some colors. So for 60, why is she asking me those questions? What would be a color for that? I think around brown. And this is more of like a chest feeling. So let's put you over here. It's more like a chest feeling. And it's like chest tightening what's happening here? Why is she asking these questions? I thought that I made this clear. What are some of the why is this happening? So it's more like tense, right? In the chest. For this feeling like 50, I think this will be more like now colors, as you can see, I'm just like choosing something, right? It's not like there's a particular color. It's literally just whatever you feel like, right? So this is more like a stomach feeling. Now, I am choosing these things. I'm using I language so that we could really get this to be exactly what would be useful for you. But definitely you are thinking this through and choosing this on your own. Right. So this is more like a stomach feeling. It's more feeling what's understood. So in terms of the feeling, it's like just feeling irritated, right? Like irritated, um, annoyed, right? So the goal would be to when I'm feeling misunderstood, irritated, or annoyed, to create some sort of coping strategy here so that I'm not moving to 60. So, so this could be something like, in terms of a coping strategy, you know, um, an affirmation, right? Life, like, and you can choose the affirmation that will give you encouragement in the moment, right? I define myself. I do the best that I can. Sometimes folks get it. Sometimes they don't. That is okay, right? So I can create like an affirmation for myself. Now, of course, we have to try it out and see if this actually works to either keep me at a 50 or bring me down to a 40. Like, I don't know what would be best in terms of how this is going to work until I get to choose it in real time. Then, should I miss the cue altogether and I notice feelings of why is she asking me these questions, and it's a feeling in my chest and I'm starting to feel tense, that would be an indication that I just missed the opportunity at 50. Like I did not feel the cue of being irritated and that feeling in my stomach. And so at this point, if I were to think about what would help at 60, maybe it might be asking questions, taking verbatim notes and trying to stay focused on requests over feelings, right? So the taking notes, right, would help. I am thinking, I have not tried this out yet, in terms of keeping myself out of my own thoughts and keeping myself in the present situation as opposed to consistent thinking, okay, well, why is she asking me this? Did I do something wrong, etc.? So I'm thinking that that would be a good coping strategy for me. Now, if we had more time, I am sure I can come up with something that creates a situation that I would rate as an 80, 90, and 100. And then ideally, I'll also create a 40, a 30, a 20, etc. So the next step is to set an emotional set point. This is your emotional set point. This is the number that you do not want to go above. This is a number that you commit to intervene. So for me, my emotional set point would be 50 because I kind of like don't want to go above 50, right? And so my emotional set point would be 50 or even 40. So if I can stay at a 40, which is, I am a participant in the meeting, I'm not feeling overwhelmed, and I feel like I have an equal chance to succeed. I think that that would be a good place to kind of like stay. And so my suggestion, right, because we all have a life that we need to live and lead, and we don't want to get to the point where within my example, frustration created by a supervisor at work, we don't ever want to get to a point where you're living every single workday feeling misunderstood or getting all the way up to a stress level. So so my emotional set point will be 40. And this is, you know, my number where I do not want to go under. So this is when I am participating, um, feeling um valued, feeling like I am contributing, um, all is well, right? If I had to give an indication of my emotional set point, I think I'll put it in my shoulders because usually when I am like super engaged and involved, I am I am leaned in. Um, so I think I'll put this right. So this would be an indication over here that I am leaned in, I'm engaged, right. So I think it will be more like, when my shoulders are leaned in, um, and I am really like thinking things through, being collaborative. So this is more like some shoulder action here. Shoulders, right? I am leaned in. I am, so both shoulders over here, leaned in, engaged. I'm probably have a smile on my face, like I'm really in the meeting, involved in the meeting, maybe even smiling, looking just like all the way leaned in. So eye contact. So this is like ideally how I am when I am feeling like, okay, I am contributing. I am a valuable part of the team. My comments are valued, etc. So to stay here, the goal would be to come up with, a strategy for your emotional set point. So this would be, I would want to make sure that I am well rested, hydrated, um, have tea, coffee, a mint. So something that is keeping me highly engaged and focused. And so, yeah, I think that that would be what would be optimal for me. And so as soon as I start to feel like that is no longer something that I can achieve, then I have to put in a coping strategy here, which might be to take if I'm online, so virtual, if I feel myself no longer leaning in, no longer making eye contact, virtually, I might, take a break from the screen, just like write in the chat, hey, off for 5 minutes, we'll be right back. Maybe hydrate, etc. All right, so lastly, I want you to know that this tool could be used again and again and again. And of course, I can always share other ways that this tool could be used because today the example was on frustration, but of course you could use this strategy for anger. You could use this strategy for stress. You could use this strategy for anything really, so that your body is able to be the guiding light. So the more you map your emotional experiences, the more in tune you become with your body, and the better prepared you are to respond in ways that feel healthy and safe for you. So take a moment, look at what you've created. And once you're complete, I would love if you submit a comment. Let us know, what did you notice? What stood out for you? What was one thing your body is teaching you that you discovered through this mapping activity? And thank you. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I want to let you know that if this activity brought something up for you, or you would like support in creating your personal body map more in depth, I am here to help. So if you would like to walk through this together or talk more about what you are noticing in your body, feel free to reach out to me to schedule a time to meet. This work can be powerful, and you're not alone in doing it. So until next time, may you listen to your body with compassion and respond with power. Thank you.